You are listening to Punisher Waterfowls, the Union 0430 podcast. Brought to you by Real Geese Silhouette Decoys, the most technologically advanced silhouette decoys on the market, and these other fine brands. Pit Boss Waterfowl, ducks, dogs, and decoys. Canadian Waterfowl Supply, Canada's #1 source for all your waterfowl needs. And Rig 'em Right, heavily seasoned.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Union 0430. This is episode 259. And we have the wonderful, the beautiful, the not selling nudes for $10, Ashley Barta on with us tonight.
No, never. Never.
It's funny because we were talking about something the other day. What was it we were talking about the other day, Ash? And then you said, well, I was going to say something. And then I was like, well, as long as you don't bring up selling nudes, you should be all right. What was that? Anyways, fuck, whatever. Anyways, like I said, this is episode 259. Ash is on with us, and we've got so much we want to talk about on this episode. But I'm going to get this out of the way because I know a bunch of you listening are probably sick and tired of talking about dogs. So we're going to get it out of the way right now. And Craig and Ash are going to talk about dogs because Ash hasn't had a chance to talk to Craig since he's got a dog. And Craig is going to tell us about his last week with his dog and the scare I'll use because I was scared for you when you called me. So here we go. I'm handing it over to you two. You two can talk about dogs, and then I'll get into the rest of the agenda. Okay, so neither one of them's going to talk. All right, awesome. So Craig, talk about.
So we'll just talk. So I brought Maverick home a little over a week ago now. I went down, picked him up from Scott Rumble.
You're breaking up, Craig.
What's going on?
I don't know. I think your internet is slow or something. I'm good. Ash is good. Must be. Did you turn off all the midget porn that you have going on in the background there? Yeah, we hear you. Okay, so while Craig is fooling with that, we've had some bad luck the last couple weeks. Yeah, we can hear you, buddy. Can you hear us? I don't think he can hear us, Ash. I'm going to tell him to jump out and then come back on. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. He just sent me a message. Everything is fucked. So he's gone. He'll come back on. But Ash, thanks for coming back on. I know, it seems weird that it's been, I don't know how long it's been since you've been on the show. And I know it's been a long time, but it doesn't feel like a long time because you and I still kind of stay in touch and we talk back and forth. So it doesn't feel like it's been such a long time since I've talked to you because, we're texting all the time and chatting and stuff. So how have you been? Okay, now you're there.
Well, I had a pretty good season.
No, your audio is all messed up too now, Ash. Yeah, I can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay. Apparently I can't get on my phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And do the show at the same time?
Yeah. No, I had a really good season. It was cut short and but I had a really good hunting season for being cut short by a month. Hunted let's see, Oklahoma. I hunted public for teal with some really great guys from Joplin, Missouri.
Okay.
Then I've always gone to Arkansas to hunt speckled belly geese for their early spec season, and in lieu of that this year, I, on a whim, decided I was going to drive to Idaho and hunt there.
Okay.
And that was a 20-hour drive. And that
Oh,
was probably the best decision I could have made.
really?
Yes, I've been Facebook friends with a guy that owns a guide service, and he posted that he had openings, and I said, well, I like to come.
Yep.
And so, I've never driven up that way, and yeah, it's a long drive, but made the best of it. And
Mm-hmm.
I had 2 guides and me the first day.
Oh,
And I was
sweet.
like, did you all bring some guns? And they're like, no, we don't do that. And I said, am I your only client for the next 3 days after this? And they're like, yeah. And I said, no, you bring your guns, bring some friends. Like, we're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
So they were great. They were great. I never had to carry anything. I never had to do anything. I just had to show up and have a good time. And
Okay.
yeah, like, and the first bird I shot there in Idaho was a banded gadwall. So, how lucky is that?
That's
And
pretty lucky.
and the guide Garrett decided he was going to video it. And
What's
I
the
don't know
name of the
why.
guide? What's the name of
Yeah.
the guide service?
Western Skies.
Western Skies. Okay.
Yeah,
Out of
Toby
Idaho.
Ridings.
Okay.
He has guys in Idaho, and then he runs out of Oklahoma too.
Okay.
So, but it's Toby Ridings, and we've been Facebook friends for a long time. So I was like, well, what do I have to lose?
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Idaho.
Yeah.
So, and they let Jake hunt, and man, the terrain is different there. How you hunt is different there.
Of
Like
course.
even the guide even told me, he goes, that choke is too tight for up here. And I was like, really? He goes, yeah,
Wow.
our elevation is like 7,000 feet. He's like, you need a wider choke. And I was like, all right, well, the first morning there was big wads of birds right in front of me and I couldn't hit anything. So
Really?
I was like, really? I mean, you guys don't know me, but really I can shoot. And they were
Yeah.
like, well, we believe you. I mean, but I couldn't hit anything.
Right.
And he's like, that choke is too tight. So when we decided to go to the river. That's when I hit that banded gadwall, and I hit it because it was all the way across the river.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So the next day, and I always keep my chokes in my truck year round.
Yeah.
And so the next day I was like, do you really think I need to change out my choke? And he's like, yes.
Yeah.
So, and I shoot mueller chokes. So I put the decoy choke on. After that, I was a killer.
There you go. There's another win for Jimmy Muller and his chokes. But that's crazy because, and I don't know, maybe people will laugh at me when I say this, but I didn't know that the elevation would affect your spread. I didn't.
I had
I don't.
no clue. But I mean, the fact that, you're hunting a pond, right near the Snake River, and I mean, big wads of birds were coming in. There's no way that pellets weren't hitting them.
Right.
And I'm like, nothing dropped.
Right.
I mean, they were maybe 20 yards in front of me. And
Wow.
time and time. And I was like, really, I do know how to shoot. I mean, I was embarrassed.
Yeah, I've been there.
We go over to the river and there's a gadwall, and, I shoot across the river, and he just happens to decide to, video it, and I dropped it, and I was gonna, video Jake coming back with the bird, and I thought, oh, well, I'll do another one, and that one happened to be banded.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, it's pretty cool. So
that is cool. And that was your first time hunting that area of the United States?
Yes.
Wow. So really a gamble, because it wasn't the norm for you to go up there. You always went to Arkansas, and then on a whim you just decided to go to Idaho.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so after we moved to the river and I shot the one banded, then I shot, 6 more birds. No problem. They were coming down the river. And so I shot 6 more birds and got my limit, and it was a good time. So You know, the next day we went to, I really wanted to get a merganser. I think everybody knows I've been trying to get a hooded merganser for a while.
Yeah.
And the one guide was like, no, I have a perfect place. Then of course it rained. And so we only got one bird that day. So, but it was nice just to sit on the river. And then the last 2 days, he was like, the head guide, Garrett, he was like, just trust me on this. And I was like, I trust you. And we
Yeah.
literally hunted like these tiny little potholes,
Yeah.
like that were probably going to be, one of them's probably going to be dried up in a day or day and a half. And I said, I know, I trust you. I've hunted stuff like this before and the birds just love it. And
Yeah.
we did great. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That
Yeah.
is awesome.
I'm glad I went. It was very much worth it.
So is that going to become now? Is that going to be part of your yearly exploits? Are you going to go up to Idaho every year now, or is it going to
Maybe.
be? Yeah.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean, and the fact I mean, even, they have tules, which are these, tall, vegetation, I don't know, is really thick. And the fact that, without a dog, you can't find your birds when you
right.
shoot them. And, Jake, he he was a rock star because, there's a lot of dogs that would maybe be like, oh, well, I can't see it.
Yeah.
And he couldn't see anything. And I would just send him out there and he would come back with birds and go back out. And they were like, we're really impressed with your dog. And I said, he does not give up. He will
Yeah.
go find.
Well,
So,
and the thing, Ash, is like you do a lot of training with your own dog and with your own dogs, and I know how passionate you are about your dogs with them hunting, but you also send your dogs away to a trainer as well, right? Or you used to anyways.
yeah, they've been trained.
Yeah.
But, Jake just turned 6 yesterday. So, but
Okay.
he's a go-getter.
Yeah.
He'll work himself to death.
Right.
So, but, we would I'd send him on what we could see, and then you have lulls when you're hunting. So,
Yeah.
in a lull, we'd just go out there and I'd be like, all right, go find some ducks. And lo and behold, he'd come back with 1, 2, 3, or 4. We knew how many. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was nice to see him.
They got to give you that. It adds a little pep in your step too, right? Especially when the outfitters, because I know, and I was talking to a friend of mine last night. We were sitting around and he was telling us about an outfitter here in Ontario that he had went with, and the outfitter had told him up front, no dogs.
Yeah.
No dogs are allowed. And to the outfitter's defense, he's had a ton of dogs ruin hunts over the years. So he's not a big fan of dogs showing up to hunts that he doesn't know. So so they done the hunt. Matt didn't bring his dog, and then for the next time they went back, a friend of Matt's was going on the hunt too, and he knew the outfitter, and he said, hey, listen, Matt's dogs are good, trust me, like they're good dogs, you'll be happy. So then of course he brought his dog, and then his dog was a rock star and picking up and didn't ruin the hunt for anybody or anything, just steady in the whole bit. And as he's saying it, and he's an accomplished trainer too, right? Like he trains all his own dogs and he knows what he's doing for the most part. And as he's telling it, I could see the joy in as he's telling it, that they didn't think my dog could do it, but he did it. So it gives you a little bit extra Pepe. I'm gonna I'll stop us there because now Craig is back on the Moons of Andor. Yeah, even your video was kind of scratchy
really,
before,
Yeah.
but but
You look
anyways,
better now.
yeah, it's better now. So anyways, Craig, I know the story, but you can tell everybody that's listening and tell Ash too. because I learned something from you because I didn't realize this either.
Yeah.
So go for it, buddy.
Yeah. So I had gotten Maverick home the week before. So this all happened on this past Sunday. And so he'd been home exactly a week. I'd been working with him outside and stuff like that. And we took him to a friend's house that afternoon. We were going over for lunch and visit with some friends. And so they had a golden retriever and he was going crazy. He got out, was running around with their dog like crazy through the snow and everything. And we had a good day. He hung out in their house, was listening really well. We got home that night. I let him have a rest. And then we went out and I threw some, had him do some retrieves and that, just to get him working a bit. And it was later that night. We were sitting in the house. He was laying on his bed in the living room and he just kind of got up and walked down to the front door, which he'll do. Like if our house gets too warm, he'll sit by the drafty front door. And then I could just hear like this scrambling around. So I went and checked on him. He was just kind of moving and biting at his back end. And I couldn't tell if he was biting at his leg or his butt or what was going on. And then he was just kind of moving around weird and he was restless. And so like I put him outside and he went out, did his thing and came back. And same thing, he laid down and was just kind of just acting really weird. And so I let him back out again. I saw him, he went out, he went poop again. So I'm like, okay, like maybe it's just something's going on. He picked something up outside their place or something like that. And so I started messaging a few people. Like I was messaging Damien, messaged a few other people and said like, hey, like this is what's going on. Like seems kind of like, I don't know, maybe just diarrhea or something like that. So I figured I'd wait till like it didn't seem like anything too pressing. So I figured, oh, it was Sunday night. So I'm like, all right, Monday I'll call in and then I'll just take him into the vet or whatever. And then it was around 9:30. We just put our one son to bed and we were coming up to the living room and my wife was walking beside Maverick. And all of a sudden he just dropped his ass real quick and like just started getting all twitchy and like his eyes were all big and he was just going nuts. So I'm thinking, okay, like again, if it's diarrhea or something, let's get him outside, right? And so he went outside. He just stood on the deck for a while looking at me through the patio door. So I called him in. And as he was walking across the deck, he, again, like he's just looking at me. His eyes got huge. He ran into the house and was just like bouncing off the walls, like just frantic, like not just like, being crazy and running around. Like he was just like something was up. And so I'm like, well, shit, like I got to see what's going on. So again, I'm still messaging people and I'm like, well, I guess I got to take him to the vet. So there's a 24-hour vet in Barrie, about a half hour from me. And so, I pack him up, get everything in there, throw a kennel into the vehicle, get him into the vet. And we were there for hours. And of course, and in the meantime, like he's having a hard time sitting and he's kind of not dragging his ass like you'll see dogs do on TV and stuff like that. But like when I try and tell him to sit or lay down, he just kind of arch his back, like he kind of bend over and try to sit. And then he just seemed really uncomfortable and something was going on. So I get him to the vet and waiting in there for hours. And they finally bring him in. They examine him and like they don't really see anything. He's not flinching at anything. And so they're like, okay, let's just treat him he's probably got diarrhea or something going on with his stomach. And it's probably causing a weird feeling and pain. And it's just freaking him out. So they're like, all right, let's treat him for that. So they give me cans of food and all these probiotics and all this crap and painkillers. So I come home and he's by now he's acting normal. It's like we got to bed around 3:00 in the morning and I put him in his kennel and he was fine through the night. I come out in the morning to let him out and he laid there. Like he wouldn't move. Like he just had his head down. Like the only thing moving was his eyes. Like he's barely like breathing was slow. So now I'm freaking out. And so I bring my wife down and she's like, yeah, this doesn't seem good. Like we're trying to get the kids out the door to school. And it's like, okay, just playing it off. It's like, yeah, Maverick's just not feeling good. You guys go to school. See you later. And I'm thinking, shit, I'm going to have to drag him out of the kennel and get him to the vet. Something serious is going on. And so I'm just Googling it. And like everything I'm seeing says, oh, if they're in pain from anything, they're just, this kind of seems standard presentation for if they're just in pain and don't know what to do. So we got him one of his painkillers and he seemed to move around a bit, but it knocked him out for a few hours. So like 3.5 hours goes by before he even gets out of his kennel to go outside and go pee. Now he's walking around, he's doing okay. And then he just goes and lays down and sleeps some more. And then, as I'm home with him, Scott, the trainer I just brought him home from, he had seen me post on Instagram. He's like, well, what's going on? So I explained it all to him. He's like, it sounds like he's got, I think he called it cold tail first. He's like cold tail or swimmer's tail. So I Google that. Sure enough, like 100%, that's exactly what's happening. But like the vet tech, nobody mentioned anything about that. So then I started messaging everybody I'd messaged the night before said, hey, here's what I think what's going on. Like, here's what Scott suggested, and it looks like it. And then everybody, oh yeah, I've had that happen. It's like, well, shit.
Jake just had it 3 times.
Yeah. And it's like, and yeah, like, so now the last couple of days, like everybody's like, oh yeah, my dog's had it. It's super common. But then even my wife, like she went to one of her dance classes and she's talking to a bunch of the girls there, and like a bunch of them have had dogs. And I think one is a vet tech as well. But like, yeah, one of them grew up with their dad having hunting dogs, and they all said the same thing. It's like, yeah, they've all experienced it, but beyond people who have hunting dogs aren't aware of it. And then even I was at work, and we work with a bunch of veterinarians at work for people who are getting like export documents for animals. And there was one guy that he's retired, but he comes back and helps casually. So this guy's retired veterinarian. He's been around for a long time. And I asked him, I was like, have you ever heard of this? He's like, I've never heard of such a thing. So it's just, I guess beyond the hunting circles, it's just not something that people are probably seeing or familiar with.
Well, I've heard of swimmer's tail, but I didn't know all those other symptoms. I just thought it was like their tail hurt them, and that was it. Like I didn't know about any of the other. That's why when you were telling me, I was like, it was the usual questions, right? Well, is he eating good? Is he using the bathroom? Is he, just the normal triage questions that any vet would ask, right? That's all I didn't know. And then when you said swimmers, first you said cold tail, and I was like, what the fuck is cold tail? So then I looked at it, and then it was, swimmer's tail. So I knew what that was, but I didn't realize all of those symptoms were part of it. I was shocked. So I learned something.
And I guess ultimately, like, what happened to him was because he was just zipping around with the other dogs so much and like through the snow. So like they were just, they weren't able to do straight out runs because like they're running out of room. So I guess just from whipping around and zigzagging so hard that it just sprained his tail basically. But once
Jake had that in the first time. I mean, he never complains about anything, but the first time he got that, he was just like going from my bed to the kennel and back and forth and just like crying.
Yeah.
And I looked it up and I was like, that's what it is. Cause I went and touched his tail and he was having his tail not like tucked, but he wasn't his tail is curved, but you could just tell he was in pain. And if I touched his back end, he was uncomfortable, especially his tail. So I just like messaged my vet on Messenger. He's like, oh yeah, give him some aspirin.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So like I ended up taking all the stuff back to the vets. Like I went back to the clinic because it gave me like $100 worth of food. I'm like, I don't need this. Like this is useless.
Yeah.
So they actually, they took it back and everything. But the good thing was they'd given me the painkillers. And we gave him one that first morning, and that was it. We never gave him another one. And by Tuesday, he was back to his normal self and pissing Carrie off during the day while she was trying to work. And then he's just been eating like a monster since. But no, now he's fine.
Oh, good.
The whole time this is happening, right? All I can think of for the last year, I've been pressuring Craig to buy a dog.
And, I know. Last one I was on, I was like, you have to get a dog. You have to get a dog. I will drive it to you.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, man, like I talked him into getting a dog, and now, and that morning when he went and let him out of his crate and he just wouldn't move his head or nothing. I was like, oh my God, what have I done? What have I done?
I actually felt I was like, I convinced him to get this dog and he got it home. I think it's sick, might die.
When I'm sitting in the vet clinic too, like I think I messaged Damien too. I'm like, oh, why did I not get the pet insurance yet?
And you know what? That's a good thing to bring up, because I was talking to someone. It was when I was away on that ski trip with the veterans. So there's a bunch of fellas, ladies and dudes that have service dogs, right? And you can well imagine how much money, time, and effort are put into these service dogs, right? And every one of them all has pet insurance, and they're like, you got to have it. It's because the vet bills are just so ridiculous, even for something small. That you got to have it. And I got thinking more and more about it. I'm like, man, why isn't there more people? I don't have it for mine,
I don't either.
But I tell you, if I ever get another dog, I will get pet insurance 100%. Because I know when I first had Lander, like that dog, her first 6-7 months, she was back and forth to the vet all the time because she was in the shit all the time. So I spent a small fortune on her, but yeah. Anyways, just the pet insurance I think is a good thing. True Panion was the one that all the service dog owners, that was one that they all
that's
said
what
was True
our
Panion.
regular vet, that's what they push it out of theirs as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Stella had it like when I registered her with UKC.
Yeah.
It was like you got 6 months of it free.
Okay.
But I mean, I should have it because it does cost an arm and a leg, to have a dog. Period.
Yeah.
But I just didn't continue it. I don't know why. I just didn't.
Well, again, right? Like it's another cost. It's another monthly bill on top of all the other monthly bills that you got. But like this is gone are the days. Like I remember growing up, like everybody had dogs and they were just tied on in the backyard and they had a wooden box that they would sleep in, and you know what I mean? Like everyone had dogs, but nobody really they weren't part of the family like people view dogs now. And I think that's why the pet insurance thing is I will get it the next time 100%.
It only takes one bad bill to make it worthwhile.
Well, heck, just taking him. I think I took Jake for his shots, and I requested blood work on him because he was gonna turn 6. And I just think that's important to make sure that, he's
Things are
all right
good,
on the inside.
Yeah.
And so he had a full blood panel, heartworm test, his vaccines, and it was $600.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll get some travel miles and just swipe that credit card.
Yeah, do it for the points.
I always specified as that. I'm like, well, I got some travel miles. I'll just swipe.
Well, Mama got to get to Idaho next year, so you need those travel miles. They're
That's
swiping.
Right. Either cash them in for money or you can either cash them in for a good old plane ticket. So
yeah.
that's always my justification of using it. I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to get me some travel miles today.
Ash, you had just come back. Were you at NWTF? Was that where you were, or was it a different show that you were at just not very long ago? What were you just?
I was just at NWTF.
Yeah. Okay. How was that? I've always wanted to go. I haven't went yet. I always wanted to go, but I look at the pictures and it just looks like a friggin' awesome time.
It really is a good time. There's a lot of, I don't know, backlash, if you want to call it. Once it was over that, about it's just an influencer show. It's a fashion show, blah, blah, blah. It really is not. I mean, us women like to, there's nothing wrong with women dressing up,
No.
nothing wrong with anybody dressing up really. But I can say that it's probably there's tons of shows throughout the year, but if you're a turkey hunter, that's the best show to go to.
Really?
Because they have a variety of things. They have stuff for dogs, they have duck calls there, they have some, goose calls. But it's by far the best show of the year.
Really?
And the first day is probably the best day to go. It's not as crowded, although last year it rained all 3 days, so all 3 days were super crowded.
Right.
But it's not only going to see the vendors, but also, they have lectures about turkeys and habitat and, how to, increase our population. They have calling contests, they have all kinds of stuff. So I mean, they have something for everybody,
Right.
even kids. So, but I'd say it's probably the best show of the year. Um, it's, I mean, it's a big deal.
You
So,
know, it wouldn't be right if I didn't draw some attention onto the negativity, because I didn't know there was any backlash. All I seen was the pictures. So, you know, when you say this, and I don't know who I want to point the blame at on this, and I'm really struggling to try and find somebody that I want to blame for the people that would say, well, it's a fashion show. Listen, and let's just go with women, right? So the women are showing up and they're dressed to the nines, and they're looking fabulous, and the whole bit. Now, someone is complaining because they say it's like a fashion show. The women are dressed up and too much for the show and stuff. Now, if the women came out wearing sweatpants and
exactly.
fucking hoodies,
Yep.
then there'd be another group of people that'd be like, well, look at the fucking women. They didn't even dress up to fucking come out. So, like, you
Yeah.
can't win. There's no way to win.
No, and it only takes one person
That's right.
to say something,
Yeah.
and then it catches the attention of somebody else, and then they may not have even gone,
Yeah.
and you know how it is.
Yeah.
So,
No, I totally know
and
how it
then
is.
it just explodes, and it's quite ridiculous. I mean, I know of guys that uh, are more worried about their outfits as well.
Yeah.
You know what? My thing is I actually commented. I can't remember who made a big, was like, who cares?
Yeah.
And I commented like, it costs nothing to mind your own business and stay in your
Mhm.
own lane.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
I can
who
tell
cares?
you,
Like, I'm gonna do,
and
I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, and you can do what you want to do. And as
absolutely.
long as it doesn't affect me in a bad way, and I don't affect you, everybody just have fun.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I can tell you that Trish, my wife, would not come to NWTF with me. And I'll tell you why she won't come with me, because she knows the minute I get to Nashville, I'm buying a pair of fucking cowboy boots and a hat. She knows it. I'm buying a hat and a pair of cowboy boots, and if I can find a revolver, I'm buying that too. And I'm going to walk around like a fucking cowboy the whole time I'm down there. I swear to God. And she is not going to have anything to do with me walking around like that. But like, who fucking cares, really? Like, with everything that's going on in the world right now,
yeah,
this is what's causing you to lose sleep, is that the women dressed up a bit too much for an event. And really, and I haven't been to NWTF, but what I do understand is that the events that go on in the later bit of the afternoon into the evening, like,
yeah,
you want to be dressed up. Like, this
yeah,
isn't these aren't things that you go wearing your shitty clothes. Like, you're expected to dress up for those things, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even during the day, like the first day, I didn't really dress up. The second day, I had actually bought a vintage button down turkey shirt, and I literally I got probably no less than 30 people stopped me and said, "Oh my God, I love your shirt. Where'd you get that?" And I said, eBay. I
Yeah.
just got them vintage turkey shirts and came up, and I'm like, "Oh, please let it be a medium." And it
Yeah.
was. And I said, when I got it, still had like the dry cleaning tag on it. And they're like, "Oh my God, it's awesome." Like, and I had one lady take a picture of the pattern. You know, I just I mean, I just really liked it.
Yeah.
So, and I know I'll wear it, other places besides there. Um,
It's wild.
I actually bought some bib overalls because I like bib overalls that have the mossy oak foliage pattern on them, and I wore those the third day. You
Yeah.
know, I don't. I mean, when I went out, I'm I'm not a big person to shop. Like, I just don't like to shop. But I was like, well, I need something new,
Yeah.
so I did. I mean, I went to the store, and this young girl helped me, and I was like, I think I pretty much just picked it out myself, but I was like pretty proud of what I picked out. But yeah, I mean, like, I mean, but who cares what you're going to wear? I mean, I'd still talk to you anyway if you're a lady there in a sweatshirt and sweatpants
Yeah.
versus, I mean, I don't care who you are. I'll talk to everybody.
Yeah.
So,
No.
but yeah, there was a big drama fest about that because, it only takes one person to start it.
That's right.
And, it's probably somebody that wasn't even there.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. It was somebody that wasn't.
How many times have people done that about the Sportsman show? They're like, oh, it's crap. It's this and that. And it's like, well, I haven't been there in 20 years. I'm like, so what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, there's people there that are interviewing people, and it's just to get people engaged in, the show. And anybody who's not at the show, it also helps to just, let people know about the show and what's going on. So if they can't come, then at least they can kind of be a part of the show. So,
Yeah, you had sort of said something else too when you first started talking about the show, and you had said, people had said, well, it's just an influencer event or whatever. Well, every fucking trade show is an influencer event. That's what they are. Like that's so you go. So me as a consumer, I would go to NWTF because A, I want to see the products, and B, because I'm a fan of the hunting world, those are my celebrities now. Like those guys and girls that are at the show that are selling the products or they're the face behind a brand or whatever. I want to talk to them. I want to meet them. I want to get my picture taken with them.
Well, it's always been like that. The only difference now is that you've got the name of influencer. It's like those are the same people that would have been there before. And like
So to me, the people that are saying, well, it's just an you know who's saying that? People that A, can't get to the event, or B, they're just not into hunting. Like that's what it is. Like that's what a fucking trade show is.
And it's just
that's what the
well, I think it's like the people too that it's like my way is the only way of enjoying the outdoors. My way is the only way of hunting. And because the only thing I saw about it was, I think it was Cuz Strickland's Instagram page. I saw he posted about the same bullshit. And like I commented and said, like, again, it's like, it's just hunters being their own worst enemies. Cause you've got, everybody's always complaining, well, we need to grow the sport. We need more support from the not anti-hunters, but the non-hunters. So you need that general public. It's like, but at the same time, it's like, then you go to a show and you bitch or you're on Facebook or Instagram and you're bitching because like this guy is not hunting the same way that I hunt. So therefore it's wrong. And it's like, it's just more whining, more bullshit all the time. So it's like, you complain that the sport may be shrinking or at least not growing. And it's like, well, not if you're that sort of person, right? Like you're not going to draw people in with those sort of personalities. And like what, again, like it's a trade show. That's what people are there to do. They're there to mingle. They're there to put on a show. Like that's what they're for.
Absolutely.
And I feel bad because I got several messages from people that are like, hey, I saw you and I tried to stop you. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I didn't, like, I couldn't hear them. Or,
you didn't do it. You didn't brush them off on purpose.
No, I wouldn't do that. If somebody said my name or grabbed my arm, I mean, I would totally go back, but it just gets so packed in there. And I can't, I have horrible ringing in my ears anyway, unless somebody says something loud or grabs my arm. I can't, in a crowd like that, I can't hear.
Yeah.
So, I try to, I'm no big person, but I do know a lot of people. And there was people there I didn't even know were there until after it was over. And they were like, I can't believe I didn't see you. And I'm like, I don't, people I haven't seen in 2 or 3 years. And I'm like, well, I wonder if they're going to be here. And it turns out they were here.
But that's another thing about these. But that's another thing about these trade shows, that if you're, like Ash, you're saying you're not a big celebrity or you're not a big personality or anything, but you're very, I don't know the word I'm trying, but you're on social media. Like you spend time on social media, you spend a lot of time hunting, you make posts, you're a strong advocate. So you have a following of people,
and you have a blue check mark. That's a big deal.
You have a blue, that is a big deal. but you have a following. You have people that are your friends on social media and stuff, and that's that's what I like about these shows, is that when I go to them, there's a bunch of people that normally I would never get a chance to talk to, because we're just scattered all over the place, and this is the common ground where we all meet up and you get a chance to talk. And sure, I get it. You probably you're going to miss somebody, especially if they're part of a brand or if they have a booth. Like, man, trying to get talking to someone when they're swarmed all the time, like it's just ridiculous. But anyways, I didn't know any of that. I watched all the videos. I had a bunch of friends that, well, I guess acquaintances. They're not like I've never ever met them. We just chat online and stuff like that. But there was a lot of people that I follow that were down there, and I'm like, man, I just wish. But I haven't been to NWTF, but I am going to the Duck Expo in July and in August. I think it's like the 29th of July until the 2nd of August. I think something like that. I am going down there.
In Memphis?
Yeah, in Memphis.
I'll be there.
Yeah. Oh yeah?
Yeah. I'll be there.
I'm going 100%.
Carrie and I are still planning on going down.
Are you?
So.
Oh, that's awesome. And I'm telling you, I'm getting a pair of fucking cowboy boots. Now, maybe the hat. Hey, listen, laugh. And if I can get fucking spurs put on them, I'll put spurs on them too. And I'll walk right down through, and everyone will know I'm coming.
Well, be careful doing that in Memphis, because you might get shot. Memphis is a little sketchy.
Is it really?
Memphis, I actually hunted in Nebraska with a cardiothoracic surgeon, and I asked him, I said, and he actually, he lives in Nashville. And so I was asking him, I'm like, what's the crime rate in Nashville? Because it's a big tourist community. And he said, for it being such a tourist town, he said, we get more business from Memphis because of the high crime rate in Memphis and all the shootings. I operate more on more people that have been shot or, attacked or whatever, from people in Memphis that get transferred to me than I actually do people in Nashville.
Wow.
Oof.
Yeah. Memphis is rough.
Where's the Duck Expo? In Nashville or Memphis?
Memphis.
That's
where the DU office is. I'm not saying that, they're going to have it in a bad part of town or anything like that. You just have to be aware.
No. Well, I don't think that's no different than when we were in Baton Rouge for the Delta, right? Like there was a definite area in Baton Rouge that you didn't want to be, didn't want to be walking down by yourself.
That's why I stayed at the hotel that they picked, and where I like a place to stay. I'm not bougie whatsoever, but when I'm in a town where I don't know, I at the hotel where I can
take the suggestions,
valet my truck.
Yeah.
And I Uber everywhere, and then I get my truck out of the valet to leave.
Yeah, no, smart. We've been all over the place. One of the things I wanted to talk about, Ash, and to turn it a little bit more serious, which is something we normally don't do, but I did want to do it just because my wife's a nurse, and I just think it's something that people need to know, and anybody that's been a fan or a follower of you, they may have noticed that there's been a stretch there where you weren't on socials and the whole bit, and I just think that is an important thing that everybody knows, and maybe get some education, and hopefully it'll stop someone from being a dickhead or whatever. So I don't really know how to open this, so I'll just toss it to you to tell your story, and then we'll go from there.
Well, I've been a nurse for a long time. I don't want to date myself, but for a really long time. And a nurse practitioner for a long time as well. I've mainly worked in the ER since 2009. And I worked in a big trauma center in 2009 for like 5 years, and then I've worked in rural hospitals since then. You know, when you work in a big trauma center, you get everything. I mean, I've been kicked, spit on, like cussed out. I've had people wait in parking lot for me because I didn't prescribe narcotics, whatever. Um, Nothing major that I consider anyway.
Right.
So, um, unfortunately, though, March 20th of 24 was a different, uh, really different, though. Had a patient, because I work at a rural hospital, a couple hours from my house, and unfortunately, um, myself and three other staff were assaulted by a patient, and the patient was coming after me because I was going to send them somewhere, but her target, and it was a woman, um, her target was me. It's unfortunate the other nurses got hurt as well, but I got hurt pretty bad. I didn't realize how bad I was hurt for quite a while. I mean, I didn't have any like physical. I had some bruises and I got punched in the face. But you know, mentally, it was not good. And unfortunately, I got that night off, but was asked to work 18 hours next day. So finally, after about 2 weeks, because it was very traumatic and it went on for about 30 minutes.
Wow.
I and I'm not ashamed to say this at all. I took 3 months off and took care of my mental health. And it was very lonely there. It was a very lonely place. And I don't know that I'll ever be the same. And unfortunately, I had people tell me to just get over it. Go get your hair done and just get over it. Well, you just don't get over that.
No.
At all. And, you know, I went back to work, still dealing with my injuries. And I had to tell the nurses that I worked with when I was on call, you know, I don't want that room used if at all possible.
Right.
Like, I don't want that room used.
Yeah.
I don't want to go in there. I don't want to have to go in there. Like, they knew. So, you know, still my injuries went on, and unfortunately I had to have shoulder surgery, so that kept me out. Really, that's why I only hunted 3 times in 2024. And then I ended up with a frozen shoulder. I mean, it was a mess. Um, my neck was messed up, but that wasn't addressed. So, then finally my neck was addressed in May after quite a while, and went through a bunch of tests. Luckily, I was referred to a super great orthopedic spine surgeon 4 hours from my house, but he's definitely worth it. And then I finally had surgery on my neck on December 30th, and had to have a fusion done. But still, because it went on for so long, I mean, I wasn't able to really turn my head to the left for, you know, like 21 months.
Wow.
So, you know, that is taking a while to get figured out. But, you know, there's still things that trigger me. You know, some days are bad. But I have some really great friends that are very supportive and understand that when I say, like, I'm not in a very good place, they're like, okay, well, we'll get you out of that place.
Yeah.
So, and we're just very supportive. I mean, it was really rough hunting this season because my neck was getting really bad to where, like, that's where I have like chronic ringing in my ears from that, and it'll never go away. But before my neck was fixed, I felt like I was being stabbed in the ear all the time.
Jesus.
And my ear would, I mean, when the pain would get really bad, my hearing in my left ear would be muffled. So there's, Thanksgiving weekend, I always hunt with my one friend, Chelsea. And I got up and I said, I can't go. And she was like, oh, come on. Like, you don't need to go back to bed. And I said, I'm always the one I'm always the
Yeah.
first one up. I said, I can't go. And I guess I must have been talking really loud because she said, can you hear? And I said, no, I can't. I can't hear anything on my left ear.
Wow.
And she goes, okay, go back to bed.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's just been, it's been difficult. And what happened to me is actually becoming more common. And it seems like since COVID in 2020, we're having more and more
Mm-hmm.
nurses being assaulted and even killed.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm on a couple nursing Facebook pages and they always get those things posted. But there's been several severe assaults where, severe head trauma on the vent for weeks, broken bones, you name it.
Wow.
And it really is sad. Um, and, you know, we always have to worry about our safety. And I guess the one place you should feel supported and feel safe is at a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I'm not saying that all hospitals, you should
Right.
be worried. But I guess, while you're working, especially at a hospital, um, you should feel safe with what you're
Yeah.
doing. Not always is that the case.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah. No, Ash, and I gotta thank you for sharing that. Because I know what you're going through, and I think me and Craig. I know Craig and I, Mark that used to come on the show, Phil that comes on the show. We've all had our own mental health things that have popped up over the last few years. I got kicked out of the army because of mine. The thing is, and it's I don't want to use the word wonderful or it's good, but for me, I didn't know anybody outside of the army that had mental health issues, right? Like to me, like I could understand if a firefighter or a police officer or a paramedic, right? But I never really ever thought about anybody else outside of those immediate first responders, right? Like I didn't think about nurses. I didn't think about, when and I'll use you, Craig, but like I didn't think about when your mom passed away and your sister. Like I didn't think about how those things would affect everyday people. I just thought it was just a first responder sort of deal, right? So I thank you for sharing it, because I try my best to be an advocate for mental health and to remove the stigma and to show that just talk about it is what we need. If we have more people talking about it, then you won't get the person to say, hey, I need you to come back for an 18-hour shift tomorrow. Like that's ridiculous. Because in the army, that wouldn't happen.
yeah.
But we've been, the army is the army, and we've had it for so many years and the whole bit. That's a really bad way to say it. I just can't think of a better way to explain it. But I will tell you this, and it's the same thing that I say to everybody, and I've said it to Craig and Phil and Mark and all my friends and everybody. I am available anytime, and I can promise you there is nothing that's going through your brain that hasn't went through mine. I can promise you that. So I won't have the answers, but I can listen. So thank you for sharing that. And yeah, Craig, I tossed you into this conversation without, really asking
No,
if
that's
I
fine.
could. But
And yeah, like Damien said, Ashley or anybody else that listening, and we've said it before when we've done our mental health posts, like in June and stuff
yeah,
like that. Like anybody needs to reach out. 100% feel free.
yeah,
Like I know I've, when I found out about my mom, like one of the first text messages I sent was to Damien, because I just like that was the
yeah,
person that I knew was going to be available and person I could talk to. So yeah, reach out to Damien, reach out to myself, Phil, Mark, anybody, like just whoever you can.
yeah,
I always tell people, like, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb at night
yeah.
so that I don't hear dings from like Instagram or whatever. But
Right,
my phone rings 24 hours a day. And I actually had somebody like call me at 2:30 in the morning one time, and they were surprised I answered. And I said, I'll always answer my phone. Like
right,
always, like maybe somebody needs a ride home, maybe somebody's
right.
sick, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe somebody just needs to talk.
Right.
And unfortunately, not a lot of people will answer the phone at 2:30 in the morning,
That's right.
but I will.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and I've always said that. Um, and, my mom had some mental health issues, so I've always, and it was hard for me when I was younger, and I grew to understand what she was going through
Right,
as I got older. But I've always been the kind of person that's like, I go in to see a patient, and you can just tell that they're not just there for their stomach ache. And I'm the one that's like, okay,
right,
I believe that you do have a stomach ache, but what else is going on? Like,
right,
what else can I help you with? And then I'm come out and I'm like, oh, they need this, this, and this. And the nurse is just looking at me and I'm like, no, I just was in there for 30 minutes. And
right,
also this is going on too, and we need to help them with this.
right.
So when I went back to work after being off for 12 weeks for my own mental health, I actually typed up like all of the hotline numbers and the text lines, for veterans, for
Yeah.
LGBTQ. I mean,
LGBTQ
like
plus, yeah.
everybody, and actually sent that out to the whole hospital. Um, and I still do about every 4 or 5 months, like, oh, here
Yeah.
they are again. And because you never know who needs it. There may be staff, maybe
Yeah.
somebody else, but um, I've will have patients and I will make the comment like, mental health matters. So you never know who might be struggling today. And then I think because of what happened to me and the fact that and I'll be honest with you guys, I lost my shit at work one day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the next day.
Yeah.
I didn't get shipped off anywhere, but
Right.
I did. I just totally lost my shit because
Yeah.
I couldn't keep working.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
just,
that's just your body's defensive
Yeah.
now, right? Your body is going into defensive mode. They're trying to protect you, and
yeah,
that's the result,
yeah.
unfortunately. But
I just,
that's just the way it is.
I was at my wit's end and I couldn't continue to work and have this on my mind and be in pain. And about 2 weeks later, I just was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't be here anymore. Like, I don't even think I can be a nurse practitioner anymore. Like,
Right.
I can't work here. I need to go. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just had a big meltdown and they found somebody to work for me and I I went and got help.
Yeah.
So, the employee health nurse, and I are really good friends. And so he's like, don't drive. You're really upset. Don't drive. Just go back to the hospital house and I will come over tomorrow morning and we'll figure something out. So we did. And,
Good.
I have no shame in telling anybody what happened and what I did, like why I was gone for 12 weeks.
Yeah. I think one of the good things, and I really do like that we're ending the show on this, and some people that are listening, you may be rolling your eyes or whatever, and I hope that you never ever have to go through what Ash has went through, what Craig, myself, anybody else has ever had to go through. But I'll tell you, the chances of you getting through life without having a moment, the stats are against you. Chances are you will come across something. So I'm happy we're ending the show on this, and I will say this, that you're not alone, and as a society, we're not there yet. We're not perfect at this, but we're a hell of a lot better than what we were 10 years ago.
Oh, 1000%.
Right. And like, well, I'll give you a good example. My kids. So like, my daughter's 20, my son is 16. Fuck, I'm getting old.
Don't even go there. I won't even talk.
Yeah. But, like my daughter and my son, like, it's taught to them in school. Like, they are very conscious of their mental health. They know, and I know my kids, and I know that when shit is bugging them, and they're very open. They do not. There's no shame in it. They talk about it. And this generation, I know this generation, or this new generation, they take a lot of flack for a lot of the shit that goes on in the world with them. But I tell you that they do some things very right. And we are doing better with mental health than what we were 10 years ago. But Ash, I can't thank you enough, my love, for sharing that. And I guess it's not just a police officer. It's not just an army guy or a military guy or girl or a paramedic or a fire. It could affect anybody. And I can tell you that had to be heard. And if you ever need anybody, I'm here, and you got my number. We chat all the time anyways. So, there's no different. And at 2:30 in the morning, if you call and Trish asks, who is this? You just say, it's Ashley. Damien told me to call him if I ever needed him, and she'd pass you. You know what I mean? But, no, thank you for sharing. And I hope that, my dream is that whenever, or my wish is that whenever I talk about it or somebody else talks about it on this show and we air it, I hope that one person would be like, you know what, I'm sort of kind of fucking struggling. I should probably call somebody. And to me, that's the greatest thing that this show will ever accomplish, is that it'll get somebody to make a phone call. No matter any of the things I do, if it does that, then the show was a success in my book.
No, I completely agree.
I would like to end it on a happy note. And the only happy note that I can think of off the top of my head is Craig's got a dog.
And he's healthy.
And his dog is healthy. And Ash has a dog. And Jake totally fucking just was a rock star in Idaho. And Lander is driving me bananas.
Jake, I mean, I love Stella. She is one of a kind. She is one of a kind. I could tell you stories all day. But she did not have the desire to hunt this year, and I was not going to force her because she is not a water hunter.
Right.
But Jake earned his keep this year, and I couldn't be happier with him. My Facebook find, thought he was just going to be a meat dog, is a refined retriever. And he's just amazing. So I have a nice pair of dogs, and I think Stella will come along on that water retrieve. I took them yesterday, and that water was ice cold, and she couldn't get enough retrieves out of that. So I think she's well on her way to doing her thing. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, my goal next year, at some point during next season, is that I get to hunt with Craig and Maverick.
Yeah.
I'm not bringing my dog. It's Maverick's go, and I want to sit back and this is what I want. I want to sit back and shoot and let somebody else's dog. I want to see somebody else work the dog and me just shoot. And then, because I just can't wait for it.
Yeah, my goal is to get Carrie and Caleb both out on a hunt for the early goose season, so that they can be shooting, and I'll just be handling Maverick, and hopefully his first retrieves will be for their birds. So that's what I want to see.
You better have a GoPro, buddy.
Yeah.
You better have a GoPro or something to capture it. Let's do a quick around the table, and then we'll end her here for this episode. Guys, Craig, to you.
I think the only thing I can say is, again, thanks, and to open up to everybody. Again, thanks to everybody who's reached out in the past when with any of us dealing with our own personal stuff. Thanks to everybody who's reached out since I've had the dog, and some guys had reached out when I did the one episode, or when we were doing the one episode, and we were talking about like using your different parts of the meat and birds for things for dog treats. So I had guys reach out to me with that. With dealing with Maverick this past weekend, like a lot of people are reaching out and checking in on him and checking in on me and that. So that's the one thing I've loved about being on this podcast for the last, almost 2 years now. It's just how much people reach out. So again, like if anybody ever needs anything, feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Ash, to you, my love.
I don't, this is where I don't do very well, but, I just always appreciate when I meet people that have been following me. And actually, one example was I met up with a friend from Texas. She was hunting about an hour away, and she was with another girl. And the other girl said, "I've been so nervous all day knowing that you were going to come." And I was like, "Why?" And she goes, "You're like a big deal." And I said, "I have a cracked windshield in my truck, and I live in a tiny little house." I said, "I'm not a big deal." I said, I'm with you." I said, "So don't ever think anybody's a big deal or better than you." I said, "Because we're all on the same level."
Absolutely.
So, but it made me feel good that she thought I was a big deal.
Of course.
I said, "No, nobody's better than you." Yeah. So, it always makes me feel good to know that, maybe I've influenced somebody to hunt or to get in the outdoors where they didn't before. I always think that's really cool when they tell me that. So, and, I hope any information that I've ever talked about or ever posted encourages somebody else to, live their best life, because we only get one of them.
Yeah.
And the days will tick them by. So.
Well, no, and a great point. And we never even touched on, and I don't even know if it needs to be touched on anymore, because it seems like there's just so many women in the hunting world right now. Like I just think it's a moot point, like to draw attention to it now. I don't think it needs to, because there's so many women that's doing it that, you know what I mean? So sisterhood of the hunt, I think they're going to be coming on here soon. I just think there's so many. Either way, you know what I mean.
But I'm older, and so there's some women that are like, "Oh, I'm too old." But I mean,
right.
I started later, so I've had women that say, I figured I was too old to start, and I'm like, "Oh, you're never too old to start.
No,
get out there and do it."
Yeah, absolutely.
You can do it. I taught myself how to shoot a shotgun. You can do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If I can help you, let me know.
So, surround yourself with good people and good things will happen. I promise you that. Ladies and gentlemen, This is the Union 0430, episode 259 with Ashley Barta. Follow her on socials. I promise you'll love her content. She's a great person, and most importantly, she's a great friend. Craig, thanks for tonight, buddy. Thanks for coming on. Even though you had some technical difficulties, you had technical
it was
difficulties.
My fault this time.
Ash hasn't had it. Ash was about 15 minutes late and hadn't had her computer turned on since Christmas. And for once, Damien was not the technical disaster. So thank you all for coming. Thank you for listening. We are Punisher Waterfowl. We're not experts. We'll never pretend to be. Surround yourself with good people and good things will happen.
That's right.